All right, this is a video on the stem and leaf displays. A stem and leaf display is a method of exploratory data analysis that is used to rank, order, and arrange data into groups. The stem is the leftmost part of each data value. The leaf is the rightmost part. So the leaf must be a singular value, whereas the stem can be more than one value. We align all the stems in a vertical column from the smallest to largest, and then the leaves are arranged in ascending or increasing order in the same row with their corresponding stem. We will use a label or key to indicate the magnitude of the numbers. If we're dealing with decimals, we'll include that in the label part and not with the actual stems or leaves. Let's look at an example. And I specifically picked one with decimals just because it's just a little bit more of something that sometimes complicates things for students. So the following data is the number of hours rounded to the nearest tenth that students spent studying for their statistics midterm. So notice that we have, let's see, it's a 2 row by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So we have 20 different students in this specific data set. And these are the number of hours they spent studying for their midterm. So notice these are not currently in order from least to greatest. So you could do that first. You could reorder them from least to greatest and just rewrite your list. That's one way to approach this. Another way is to create the stem and leaf display twice, essentially, where one way we focus on just getting each number put in the right row so that it's coordinated with its specific stem. And then we make a second stem and leaf that's our final answer, where we reorder the data in the increasing order or the ascending order. And that's the way that I will go about it, because that's kind of the method that is used in our course. So first thing to do is to kind of come up with your key. Notice that we have 3 digits in most of our values. Some of them have 2, but we've got a decimal point. It looks to me that the leaf, remember the leaf is a rightmost part and it can only be a singular value. The tenths place is going to be our leaf for all of these. And the stem is then going to be a 2-digit, since we have 2 digits in some of these. It's our ones and tens place to identify those. So my key, and I usually just use the very first item in the list, is going to be that when I see 10/8, where this is the stem side and this is the leaf side, that is going to be giving me a value that is the numbers in front, then the decimal point, then our leaf, which is the tenths place, and we know that this is representing hours. So this is technically how we would do our key. Now, we do need to locate the lowest our value of studying time ever gets. Somebody studied 8.6, which looks like it's the lowest. The highest anyone studied, it looks like it's 14 hours in this group. So when you do your stems, usually we keep them in a consistent manner. So an 8, we're going to write as a 0.8, just to have that 2-digit partial like we do in the 10, the 13, and 11, and 12. Some books don't get specific about that, but I think it looks more uniform to do it that way. So we have our stems and we're going to have our leaves. Okay. So we have 0.8, 0.9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and 14. That's as high as we need to get for the stems. Now, in this scenario, I'm not going to reorder this list first. I'm just going to go from left to right, put the leaves in the correct rows, even though they're not going to be in the correct least to greatest order. Then we'll rewrite our correct answer over here. So 10.8, we're going to have, and we try to line our leaves up so that we have a singular digit in each column, and we kind of evenly space everything. So once I put something, I mark it out so I know I've done it. 13.3, so we're going to need a 3 in the 13 row. 11.9, so we're going to need a 9 here. Notice I'm not putting any decimal points in the stem and leaf table. It's represented in the key up here. 12.2, so we're going to have a 2 in the 12 row. 11.1, so we're going to need a 1 in the 11 row. 12.2, so we're going to have that. 13.3. 13.9, 14.0, 11.3, 10.5, 12.2, 10.1, 8.6, 12.5, 11.1, 11.2, 9.1, 12.3, and 13.1. Okay, so notice this is not my final answer because these leaves, even though they're all grouped by their rows correctly, they're not in that increasing order. So I'm going to rewrite everything here for my final answer. And this will be the one I circle. So I have my stems and my leaves. 0, 8, there's only one number in that row, so we don't have to reorder that. So that's 6. 0, 9, there's a 1, and that's the only number in that row. 10, we have a 1, 5, 8. We want to make sure we order that from least to greatest. For 11, we have 2 1s, a 2, a 3, and a 9. Notice I'm taking a little extra care with my spacing here. In the 12 row, we have 3 2s, so 1, 2, 3, then a 3, and then a 5. 13, we have a 1, 2 3s, and a 9. And in 14, we just have the 0. Okay. All right, so a couple things to note. Now, this is my final answer. This is the correct stem and leaf display. And the reason we talked about specifically kind of ordering things so that each thing kind of lines up in columns as well, so that things are evenly spaced, is because if you kind of turn your stem and leaf on its side, so I don't know if I can do that here visually for you. Let's see. Sort of, yeah. So like right here. You notice that this looks sort of like bars of a histogram. So we can kind of see that this data set, if we didn't have this 8.6, I would say we have pretty symmetric data or pretty close to it, but we have slightly an extra value on this side. So we have a slight skew to the left, depending on, what parameters you're looking at for what does it mean to be skewed versus what does it mean to be symmetric. This one is, I would say, a slight skew to the left. Some people could argue that this is mostly symmetric. So in cases like this, you just need to justify, like, I would still say slightly skewed because we have this 8.6 that's going to bring the average of the number of hours studied down. And so there's definitely rules we've learned throughout the course kind of to determine which way to go with that. All right, I hope that helps you learn how to make a stem and leaf display.